The movie Fearless presented an interesting position on bravery and fearlessness. I don't consider bravery to be a state of being or characteristic, but rather an action. People exhibit bravery in the face of severe or threatening circumstances. I do not think it's possible to be fearless or brave constantly. After the plane crash, Max tries to act fearless and brave for the majority of the movie when he does reckless things that tempt fate. He eats strawberries, even though he knows that he's extremely allergic. He walks across traffic and on train tracks. He continues to fly in airplanes and even walks the edge of a tall building. None of these actions exhibit true bravery. Max feels a sort of invincibility and acts as if nothing will hurt him. None of these actions of his are real threats. He created them himself. These self-inflicted scenarios are not examples of bravery or fearlessness because of that fact. Acting and being are two completely different things. Someone can act fearless in the face of threatening circumstances and still have morsels of doubt, which would make them not truly fearless. In the movie, Carla's reaction to the crash was to stay silent. It's not until after she starts speaking to Max that she's able to move forward through her guilt and the withstanding fear. I think talking out loud to yourself and to others is probably the best way to work through fear. It's one thing to feel your emotions, but articulating them and explaining them to others can help you find the root of the emotion, whether it's positive or negative. This goes for fear, stress, happiness, anger, etc. Talking through an incident or a situation is the best way to identify what emotions you're feeling and then to eventually talk through the reasons for those emotions, such as fear. I don't believe that all fears can or even need to be negated. Some doses of fear are healthy, like the fears parents use to teach their children things, like to be afraid of strangers or hot stoves. A child's fear of those things, even though it's not a fear of death or it's not a crazy fear, prevent them from putting themselves in bad situations. In Max's case, he had none of these healthy fears or appeared not to have them. Because of this, his reckless actions that I mentioned earlier became such an important part of the plotline. If someone is trying to negate their fear, I believe the best way to do that is also to talk through it. Once you talk about your emotions and why you're feeling them, you can better try to invalidate them. Sometimes it takes another person to do that. In Fearless, Max tries to prove that Carla couldn't have saved her son even if she had held on to him the whole time. He's trying to prove to her that she shouldn't feel the guilt she does. I do recognize that guilt isn't the same thing as fear, but Max tries to invalidate her guilt, which is rooted in her lasting fear of losing her baby, by driving straight into the brick wall. Personally, there definitely could have been a better way to disprove her negative feelings of fear and guilt, but the idea that someone else can change what you think is the underlying theme. Thank you.